The grand chamber of the Galactic Concordat erupted in chaos. 2,000 representatives from across the known universe spoke at once, their voices echoing off the crystalline walls that stretched up into darkness. Some shouted, others whispered in hushed tones, and a few simply stared at the massive holographic display dominating the chamber center. Representative Isabella Reyes of Earth stood calmly at the speaker's podium, her dark uniform a stark contrast to the elaborate robes and biosuits worn by the alien delegates. She waited, knowing the shock would eventually subside. The display behind her showed a single green dot moving steadily through space, one ship against the greatest threat the galaxy had ever faced. First speaker Kthara, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical frame, raised all four of their appendages. Silence. The chamber grew quiet, though the tension remained palpable. Representative Reyes, surely there must be some mistake. Earth's response to the Void Dominion threat is, one ship. Isabella nodded, her expression neutral. The UES Hyperion. That's correct. A Meridian delegate, their crystalline form reflecting rainbow patterns across the chamber, stood up. This is madness. The Void Dominion has consumed 17 systems. Their fleet numbers in the thousands. Even the combined forces of the Concordat barely slow their advance. What can one human vessel hope to accomplish? Isabella's lips curved into a slight smile. Tell me, how many ships did it take for the Void Dominion to conquer the Centauri cluster? 342 vessels, the Meridian answered promptly. And the Orion defense line? 526. Isabella nodded. Now tell me, how many ships did it take for humanity to stop the swarm incursion at Proxima? The chamber grew silent. Everyone knew that story. 2 ships, Isabella continued. The Wellington and the Magellan. When the Helix pirates threatened the Rigel colonies? 1 ship. The Coronado. When the quantum storm nearly destroyed New Singapore? 1 ship. The Challenger. She paused, letting her words sink in. Humanity has learned something in our relatively short time among the stars. Sometimes, the solution isn't about numbers. First speaker Kthara leaned forward. The Void Dominion is different. Their technology is beyond anything we've encountered. They adapt to every strategy, counter every tactic. They learn from each engagement. Exactly, Isabella said. And that's precisely why we're sending 1 ship. She gestured, and the holographic display changed, showing the Hyperion in detail. The vessel was unlike anything the Concordat had seen before. Its hull seemed to ripple like water, despite being solid metal. The Hyperion carries humanity's latest breakthrough. Something we call the quantum mirror drive. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Void Dominion's greatest advantage was their ability to analyze and counter any weapon used against them. Each battle made them stronger, as they incorporated their enemy's technology into their own. You still haven't explained why only 1 ship, a voice called out from the chamber. Isabella's smile widened slightly. Because, honored representatives, sometimes the best way to confuse an adaptive enemy is to give them only 1 thing to adapt to. 1 signal to analyze. 1 strategy to counter. And when that 1 thing is specifically designed to turn their greatest strength against them. She let the implications hang in the air. The holographic display showed the Hyperion accelerating, its unusual drive leaving a trail of quantum distortions in its wake. The ship was heading straight for the heart of Void Dominion territory. You're betting the fate of the galaxy on a theory, first speaker Kthara said quietly. No, Isabella replied. We're betting it on human ingenuity. On the creativity that comes from having to solve problems with limited resources. On the determination that made us reach for the stars even when they seemed forever beyond our grasp. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes, optical sensors, and various sensory organs of the assembled delegates. The Void Dominion believes they understand warfare. They think they can predict and counter any strategy. But they've never faced humanity's greatest weapon. And what weapon is that? The Meridian delegate asked. The ability to do the unexpected. To take what seems like a weakness and turn it into strength. To win not because we have the most ships or the strongest weapons, but because we think differently. Isabella's voice carried throughout the chamber. Watch closely, honored representatives. The Hyperion is about to teach the galaxy a lesson about humanity. As if on cue, the holographic display showed the Hyperion vanishing into quantum space, leaving behind a council chamber filled with beings who couldn't decide if they had just witnessed the height of human wisdom or the depth of human folly. Either way, they knew they were about to see something unprecedented. In the vast darkness of space, Captain Raj Patel stood on the Hyperion's bridge, watching the quantum streams flow past the viewscreen. His crew of 15 represented the best Earth had to offer, each chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to think beyond conventional boundaries. Quantum mirror drive is stable, reported Lieutenant Zara Chen from her engineering station. The containment field is holding at optimal levels. Raj nodded, his dark eyes fixed on the streams of reality rushing past them. In less than 6 hours, they would reach the edge of Void Dominion space. 6 hours until they would test humanity's most ambitious theory about the nature of adaptive warfare. Sir, called out Navigator James O'Neill, we're picking up quantum distortions ahead. Looks like the Dominion is already trying to analyze our drive signature. Good, Raj said quietly. Let them look. Let them study. Let them think they understand. He smiled slightly. They're about to learn that understanding something and truly comprehending it are very different things. The Hyperion continued its solitary journey into the unknown, carrying with it humanity's greatest gambit, and perhaps, the galaxy's only hope. The quantum streams parted like a curtain as the Hyperion emerged from faster-than-light travel. Before them stretched the vast fleet of the Void Dominion, thousands of black ships that seemed to absorb both light and hope. Each vessel bore the scars of previous battles, modified with stolen technology from conquered civilizations. Lieutenant Zara Chen's hands moved across her engineering console with practiced precision. Captain, the quantum mirror drive is registering unprecedented readings. Their fleet, it's exactly what we theorized. They're a living quantum network. Captain Raj stood from his command chair, his movement deliberate and calm. Around him, the bridge crew worked with focused intensity. They had trained for this moment for months, but seeing the enemy fleet in person still took his breath away. Analysis, Lieutenant Commander Katsumi, Raj ordered, turning to his science officer. Katsumi Tanaka adjusted her neural interface, streams of data flowing directly into her enhanced consciousness. The Void Dominion ships are linked by quantum entanglement. Each vessel learns and adapts as a single entity. But there's something else. She paused, her augmented eyes widening. They're already trying to analyze us. Multiple scan patterns, attempting to understand our technology. Let them look, Raj said, a slight smile playing at his lips. Tactical, status. Lieutenant Way Rodriguez's fingers danced across the weapons console. Quantum mirror matrices are charged and aligned, Captain. We can initiate the protocol at your command. The massive viewscreen showed the Void Dominion fleet beginning to move. Their ships flowed like liquid shadow, forming intricate patterns that had spelled doom for countless civilizations. A communication signal pierced the void between them. Unknown vessel, the transmission began, the voice a chorus of harmonized tones that sent chills through the crew. Your technology is unusual. Submit to analysis and integration. Resistance will result in your destruction and forced integration. Raj exchanged glances with his bridge crew. This was the moment they had prepared for. Lieutenant Chen, initiate quantum mirror protocols. Navigator O'Neill, take us right into the heart of their formation. Sir. O'Neill's hands hesitated over the helm controls. Right into the middle of them. Trust the math, navigator. Trust the theory. Raja's voice carried absolute conviction. Humanity didn't send us here to play it safe. The Hyperion surged forward, its unusual drive leaving ripples in spacetime itself. The Void Dominion fleet responded immediately, thousands of weapons charging with stolen energy from 100 conquered worlds. They're deploying their adaptive shields, Katsumi reported. The pattern matches our intelligence reports. Each shot we take will be analyzed and countered. That's counting on us fighting like everyone else does, Raj said. He pressed a button on his command chair. All hands, this is the captain. Initialize full neural synchronization. Throughout the ship, the crew connected their neural interfaces to the Hyperion's quantum systems. Human consciousness merged with machine precision, creating something entirely new. Something the Void Dominion had never encountered. The enemy fleet opened fire. Beams of destructive energy lanced through space, but the Hyperion moved like water, flowing between the attacks with impossible grace. Each near miss caused the ship's quantum field to pull stronger. Mirror matrices at 60% absorption, Chen called out. The theory was right, Captain. Their weapons, their shields, their very nature, it's all connected through quantum entanglement. The Void Dominion ships adjusted their attack pattern, learning from each missed shot. Their fleet moved to surround the Hyperion, closing off escape routes with mathematical precision. More scan beams probed the human vessel, trying to understand its nature. They think they're learning about us, Raj said quietly. They don't realize we're learning about them. Lieutenant Rodriguez, prepare the first mirror pulse. Let's show them what happens when humanity turns an enemy's strength against them. The Hyperion's hull began to shimmer, the absorbed energy from the Void Dominion's attacks feeding into the quantum mirror drive. The enemy fleet pressed closer, their scans growing more intense. Sir, Katsumi's voice held a note of concern. I'm detecting power signatures unlike anything in our database. They're preparing to unleash their full arsenal. Raj nodded. Of course they are. They think they've analyzed enough of our capabilities to counter them. Navigator O'Neill, on my mark, execute pattern Sierra 7. Lieutenant Rodriguez, synchronize mirror pulse with the maneuver. The Void Dominion fleet unleashed hell. Space itself seemed to warp as thousands of weapons fired simultaneously. Each beam was designed to adapt, to learn, to overcome any defense. They had used this strategy to destroy countless civilizations. But the Hyperion didn't try to defend. Now. Raj commanded. The human ship spun in an impossible pattern, its neural-linked crew moving as one with the vessel. Every beam that should have struck them instead fed into the quantum mirror drive. The ship's hull pulsed with absorbed energy, growing brighter and brighter. Mirror matrices at maximum capacity, Chen reported, her voice tense with concentration. Ready for pulse activation. Raj stood at the center of his bridge, watching the Void Dominion fleet surrounding them. Humanity's greatest gambit was about to be tested. Everything they theorized about quantum warfare, about adaptive systems, about the nature of consciousness itself, it all came down to this moment. Send it back to them, he ordered quietly. Show them what happens when you try to adapt to humanity. The quantum mirror drive activated, and the battle for the galaxy's future began in earnest. The quantum mirror pulse erupted from the Hyperion in a sphere of pure brilliance. It wasn't a weapon in any conventional sense, it was something entirely new. As the pulse reached the Void Dominion ships, their perfectly coordinated formation began to falter. Multiple quantum disruptions detected, Katsumi reported, her augmented eyes tracking countless data streams. Their network is attempting to adapt, but... She paused, a rare smile crossing her face. They're adapting to their own patterns. The Void Dominion fleet's response was immediate and chaotic. Thousands of ships fired again, each burst more powerful than the last. But with every shot, the Hyperion's quantum field grew stronger, absorbing and reflecting the energy in ways that confuse the enemy's adaptive algorithms. Their ships are receiving conflicting data, Lieutenant Chen called from engineering. The mirror pulse is creating a feedback loop in their quantum network. They're trying to counter us, but they're actually fighting themselves. Captain Raj watched the massive viewscreen as the enemy fleet's formation began to break down. Ships that had moved with perfect synchronization now seemed to struggle against each other. They've never faced an enemy that turns their own adaptive nature against them. Their greatest strength is becoming their weakness. Another transmission cut through space, but this time the harmonized voice held a note of confusion. Unknown vessel, your technology defies analysis. Submit to. The message cut off abruptly as the Void Dominion ships began firing wildly, their coordinated attack patterns dissolving into chaos. They're trapped in their own adaptive loop, Katsumi explained, her neural interface streaming tactical data directly to her consciousness. Every time they try to analyze and counter us, the quantum mirror reflects their own patterns back at them, forcing them to adapt to themselves. It's creating a cascade of conflicting responses. Navigator O'Neill's hands flew across his console as he guided the Hyperion through the increasingly erratic enemy formation. Captain, their ships are breaking ranks. Some are attacking each other. Just as we theorized, Raj said quietly. Their quantum network doesn't know how to handle its own reflected patterns. They've become so dependent on adaptation that they don't know what to do when faced with themselves. The bridge crew watched in amazement as the mighty Void Dominion fleet began to tear itself apart. Ships that had conquered entire star systems now fired blindly, their adaptive systems caught in an endless loop of trying to counter their own reflected tactics. But victory wasn't assured yet. Through the chaos, a massive vessel emerged, different from the others. Its hull seemed to shift and change, displaying technology from dozens of conquered civilizations. Sir, Katsumi's voice held a note of urgency. That's their command ship. It's shutting down the quantum network. They're trying to break the feedback loop by isolating their ships. The massive enemy vessel pulsed with energy as it severed connections to its fleet. Smaller ships began to go dark, their adaptive systems resetting. The command ship's weapons charged, gathering power from what looked like miniature stars contained within its hull. They're learning, Raj observed. Not just adapting, but actually learning. Lieutenant Chen, status of the mirror drive? Operating at 93% efficiency, but the command ship's energy signature is like nothing we've seen. If they hit us with that much power. She left the implications unspoken. Raj stood from his command chair, his mind racing through possibilities. The Void Dominion was proving more intelligent than they'd anticipated. By shutting down their network, they were trying to eliminate the weakness the Hyperion had exploited. They think we only have one trick, he said, more to himself than his crew. Lieutenant Rodriguez, prepare all mirror matrices for maximum absorption. Navigator O'Neill, plot an intercept course with their command ship. Sir. O'Neill questioned, even as his hands moved to comply. They're gathering enough energy to vaporize a small moon. Exactly. Raja's voice held firm conviction. And we're going to take every bit of that power and show them humanity's second trick. He opened a channel to the engine room. Engineering, prepare for emergency protocol Omega. We're about to push the mirror drive beyond its designed limits. Warning indicators flashed across multiple consoles. The enemy command ship's weapon reached full charge, its power signature defying standard physics. Around it, the remains of its fleet struggled to recover from the quantum feedback loop. All hands, Raj broadcast ship-wide, this is the moment Earth's scientists theorized. The Void Dominion adapts to everything they face, learning and growing stronger. But they've never faced an enemy that forces them to confront their own nature. Now they're about to learn that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, it's our ability to push beyond what seems possible. The command ship fired, its beam cutting through space like a newborn star. At the same time, the Hyperion's quantum mirror drive spun up to frequencies that threatened to tear the ship apart. What happened next would either prove humanity's theories about the nature of adaptive warfare, or end in spectacular failure. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance as two fundamentally different approaches to warfare prepared to clash: the Void Dominion's relentless adaptation against humanity's audacious creativity. Time seemed to slow as the command ship's beam approached the Hyperion. The energy output was beyond anything humanity had ever encountered, enough power to shatter planets. But Captain Raj Patel stood calmly on his bridge, watching the approaching devastation with steady eyes. "Emergency Protocol Omega initiated," Lieutenant Chen announced, her voice strained as she channeled power through systems never meant to handle such forces. Mirror matrices reconfiguring to maximum absorption state. The beam struck. The Hyperion's hull blazed with light as the quantum mirror drive engaged at frequencies that threatened to tear reality itself. Warning alarms screamed across every console as the ship absorbed energy that should have destroyed it instantly. "Hull integrity at 30%. Rodriguez called out. "The mirror drive is, sir, it's evolving." That was exactly what they had hoped for. The Hyperion shuddered as it contained power that defied conventional physics. But instead of trying to process it all, the ship began to change. The quantum mirror drive, designed to learn and adapt just like their enemy, was becoming something new. Full neural synchronization. Raj commanded. "Everyone, link with the ship. Let it feel our intention." The bridge crew's neural interfaces pulsed as human consciousness merged with the ship's quantum systems. Through their combined awareness, they felt the mirror drive transforming, becoming more than its creators had envisioned. The Void Dominion's deadly beam continued to pour energy into them, but now that energy was feeding something unprecedented. "Captain," Katsumi's augmented eyes widened in amazement, "I'm detecting quantum signatures I've never seen before. The mirror drive isn't just reflecting their energy anymore, it's understanding it." Through their neural link, the crew felt it too. The Hyperion wasn't just a ship anymore, it had become a bridge between human intuition and quantum mechanics. And through that connection, they finally understood what they were really fighting. "The Void Dominion," Raj said softly, the realization flowing through the neural network to his entire crew, "they're not just adapting to technology. They're trapped in an endless cycle of evolution. Every civilization they absorb, every technology they steal, they're searching for something." The command ship's beam intensified, pouring more power into the Hyperion. But now, instead of trying to contain or reflect it, the ship began to resonate with it. Human consciousness, merged with quantum mechanics, reached out to touch the vast intelligence behind the Void Dominion's attacks. "They're lonely," Katsumi whispered, tears streaming from her augmented eyes as the truth became clear. "They've conquered thousands of worlds, absorbed countless technologies, all trying to find others like themselves. But they don't understand, evolution isn't just about becoming stronger." Through their quantum connection, the crew felt the ancient pain driving their enemy. The Void Dominion was a race that had evolved beyond physical form, becoming beings of pure quantum energy. They conquered and absorbed other civilizations not just for power, but in an endless search for equals, for anyone else who could evolve as they had. That's why they keep adapting, Raj realized. They're trying to force other species to evolve, to become like them. But they don't understand that true evolution can't be forced. The Hyperion's hull began to pulse with patterns of light that mirrored the quantum signature of the Void Dominion themselves. Not copying them, but showing them something they had never seen before, a different path to evolution. "Sir," Chen called out, her voice filled with wonder, "the mirror drive, it's not just reflecting their power anymore. It's showing them how humans adapt, not by force, but by choice. Not by conquering, but by understanding." The command ship's beam faltered. Through their quantum link, the crew felt the confusion rippling through the Void Dominion's consciousness. For the first time in their ancient existence, they faced a species that didn't just resist their power, it understood them. Now, Raj commanded, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's greatest gambit. Show them everything. Show them what human adaptation really looks like. The Hyperion's quantum mirror drive activated at full power, but instead of attacking, it reached out. The ship became a beacon, broadcasting not just reflected energy but the full spectrum of human consciousness, our hopes, our fears, our endless drive to explore and understand. They're responding, Katsumi reported, her augmented senses tracking the quantum exchanges. Their attack patterns are changing. They're trying to communicate. The space between the Hyperion and the command ship filled with quantum patterns more complex than anything humanity had ever encountered. It wasn't a battle anymore, it was a conversation. Two different approaches to evolution, meeting in the quantum realm. But this was just the beginning. As the Void Dominion began to understand what humanity was offering, the true test of Earth's theory about adaptation and evolution was about to begin. The galaxy watched as a single human ship prepared to show an ancient quantum civilization that there was more than one way to grow beyond your limits. The quantum dialogue between the Hyperion and the Void Dominion's command ship illuminated space with patterns never before seen in the galaxy. Through their neural link, Captain Raj and his crew felt the ancient civilization's consciousness shifting, experiencing something they had searched for across millennia, genuine understanding. Their quantum signatures are transforming, Lieutenant Chen reported, her hands steady on the engineering controls despite the unprecedented energies flowing through the ship. They're not just adapting to us anymore, they're learning how we adapt. The remaining Void Dominion fleet hung motionless in space, their earlier chaos forgotten as they witnessed the exchange between their command ship and the lone human vessel. Through the quantum mirror drive, humanity's message reached deep into their collective consciousness. True evolution came not from force, but from choice. They're sharing their history, Katsumi announced, her augmented eyes tracking the complex data streams. Showing us why they became what they are. Their world was dying, they evolved into quantum energy to survive, but lost something in the process. They forgot how to change without destroying. Raj stood at the center of his bridge, feeling the weight of this moment. Through the neural interface, he sensed the Void Dominion's growing understanding, and their deep, ancient loneliness. Send them everything, he commanded softly. Show them Earth's history. Show them how many times we faced extinction, but chose to adapt without losing our humanity. The quantum mirror drive pulsed, projecting not just data but the essence of human experience. The Void Dominion saw humanity's struggles, our failures, our triumphs. They witnessed how humans had faced catastrophe after catastrophe, adapting and growing while maintaining our core identity. Sir, Rodriguez called from tactical, their weapon systems are powering down. The command ship it's changing configuration. The massive vessel before them began to transform, its structure flowing like liquid metal as the Void Dominion processed what they were learning. The quantum patterns between the ships grew more complex, more beautiful, a symphony of understanding between two fundamentally different forms of life. They're offering us something, Katsumi said suddenly, her voice filled with awe. Not surrender, not submission, they want to share their knowledge. Their true knowledge, not just their weapons. Through the quantum link, the crew felt the sincerity of the offer. The Void Dominion had spent eons trying to force other species to reach their level. Now, for the first time, they saw another way, teaching instead of conquering, sharing instead of stealing. Captain, Chen's voice was urgent, the mirror drive is receiving data unlike anything we've ever seen. They're showing us how they evolved, their understanding of quantum mechanics, it's beyond anything humanity has imagined. Raj smiled, feeling the profound change rippling through both ships. Send them our response. Show them how humans share knowledge, how we teach, how we learn together. The exchange continued, growing deeper and richer. The Void Dominion began to understand the power of voluntary evolution, of maintaining identity while growing beyond limits. And humanity gained insights into quantum physics that would have taken centuries to discover alone. Suddenly, the quantum patterns shifted. The command ship was broadcasting to its entire fleet, sharing its newfound understanding. One by one, the Void Dominion vessels began to transform, their aggressive configurations melting away into something new. "They're sending a message to the Galactic Concordat," Rodriguez announced. They're requesting peace talks. Not as conquerors, but as teachers. They want to share what they've learned, both their knowledge and what we've taught them about adaptation. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Concordat, thousands of representatives watched in stunned silence as the message arrived. The feared Void Dominion, terror of the galaxy, was proposing an exchange of knowledge. Not through force, but through understanding. Representative Isabella Reyes stood before them once again, this time with a genuine smile. "This is why we sent one ship," she said to the assembled delegates. "Not to fight a war, but to bridge a gap in understanding. The Hyperion carried humanity's greatest weapons, our empathy, our adaptability, and our ability to find common ground even across the gulf of space and consciousness." Back on the Hyperion's bridge, Raj watched as the Void Dominion fleet reorganized itself into a peaceful configuration. "Send a message to Earth," he ordered. Tell them that humanity's gambit worked. We didn't just stop a war, we started something new." The quantum patterns between the ships began to stabilize into permanent channels of communication. The galaxy was about to enter a new era, one where adaptation and evolution would be guided by understanding rather than force. And it had all started with a single human ship, carrying not weapons of destruction, but the tools of comprehension. "What happens now, Captain?" Navigator O'Neill asked, watching the transformed Void Dominion fleet. Raj looked at his crew, each of them forever changed by what they had experienced. Now we do what humans have always done best. We learn, we teach, we grow, and we help others do the same." The Hyperion's quantum field pulsed one final time, not in conflict but in harmony with the ancient civilization they had helped to transform. In the vast darkness of space, two very different approaches to evolution had found common ground, proving that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't adaptation itself, but understanding how to adapt together.